Hello and welcome to PiscesMoon Astrology. I'm your astrologer, Kate Leonard, and I'm excited to explore the stars with you. Hi everyone, welcome to the week of August 4th through technically August 10th, but I'm going to be giving you some dates that go beyond this week, because this little cosmic dance we're doing between the new moon and the retrograding Mercury is going to carry us forward. I also want to just go ahead and give a disclaimer. I promise not to make it long. This is my 5th time recording, so I'm about to tell you about how great this Mercury retrograde is going to be for us all. And I just want to let you know that, tech is not working for me. We're already right at the very end of the Mercury retrograde shadow. From the time of this recording, the retrograde goes exact in just over 24 hours. So I do want to say, watch out for the tech stuff, because I think that's going to be the downside of this Mercury retrograde. Now, with all of that said, let's get into it. What I want to look at this week is the new moon in Leo. That is occurring at 4:13 a.m. Pacific time on August 4th. And then we're going to talk about later that same day at 9:56 p.m., Mercury in Virgo turns retrograde. So let's start with the new moon, since it happens first. So the new moon, as always, is when the sun and the moon occupy the same degree in the same sign in the sky, right? So this is happening in Leo. Even though we're focused on lunar energy, the sun is right there with the moon in his home sign. So he is really, think of the Lion King, right? And what does the sun do? He brings illumination. I love that word, don't you? He brings illumination. He shines the spotlight on whatever it is he's involved with. The new moon is the beginning of the lunar month. It's the first phase of the moon. It's a time when people set intentions so that those intentions can be aligned with this cosmic energy. I really love that, right? It is so much easier to get things done when we're working within that energetic system that will support us rather than work against us in some way, or at least not help us. I don't think it ever works against us. Well, given the tech problems I've been having, maybe I'll revise that a little bit. Anyway, so in Leo, look to the house in your chart that's occupied by Leo, because that's where you'll be feeling this most directly. Okay, so what is this about? The moon has to do with our emotions, our inner self. The new moon is when the moon is dark. We don't see her. So it's really about the things in the shadows, things unseen. Think of subconscious, right? Think of our emotions and feelings that even we sometimes don't want to look at. But a lot of people forget that the moon is also our habits, right? The things we do habitually, the things that make us most comfortable. But habits can be good or bad, right? We can have these great habits. We brush our teeth every day. That's a habit, and we should keep doing that. But habits are also things like addictions. What shadowy places do we want to shine the light on? What intentions do we want to set right now about stepping more into the light? In what way do we want to claim the spotlight? Thinking of Leo again as illumination, the sun in Leo, right? How do we want people to truly see us? What intentions might we set that will break a habit or bring out our deepest truth in some way so that we're seen as our authentic selves? These are the kinds of issues that we're going to be looking at during this new moon. I think it's very, very profound, very, very exciting. Now, later in the day, as I've already said, Mercury is in home sign Virgo. So again, we've got the sun in his home sign, we've got Mercury in his home sign. This is a really big deal. This is actually a pretty strong Mercury retrograde in the sense when a planet is in his own sign, we get his most pure energy and his most positive energy. Even the malefics, Saturn and Mars, give us their best when they're in their home signs. So we've got Mercury stationing. All of the retrograde experience is an optical illusion. Planets are not really moving backwards. The station is that moment, again, an optical illusion, when it appears that the planet is just still, right? Think of a pendulum going forward, it's really picking up steam, then it hits its highest point, and it just seems to hang there for a moment, right? Before it begins to come back the other way. That's the best metaphor for a planet stationing to go retrograde or stationing to go direct. It stations on each side just like a pendulum. On the 4th, during the station, we're going to be feeling this Mercury retrograde. What's it going to be about for us? Pay attention to your thoughts. What's Mercury about in general? It's about our intellect, our thoughts, our way of thinking. It's also about communication, communication style, in general, how we communicate. And of course, it's about transportation. But generally, in the Mercury retrograde, when we're talking about life-changing qualities, what's going on, it's not usually that our life is being so transformed because of transportation. I guess if that is your thing, if that's happening for you, leave a comment below and tell me what that exactly means. Generally, I think when we're looking at the process of the Mercury retrograde, where we're really seeing the payoff is in communication and ideas, right? So let me know if you're having that experience some other way. I would love to hear about it. And remember, a Mercury retrograde, I know you've all heard this before, but just in case there's somebody new out there, it's about all the re-words. Rethink, redo, revise, revamp, reconsider. You get it, right? So we've got Mercury asking us to go back over something, redo it. And now let's talk about the Virgo piece, because this is super important. Just like the sun being in Leo, we really have to think of the sun. Though we're looking at that lunar energy, we've really got to consider Virgo in this. Virgo is about details. Virgo likes to make sure all the little things are done correctly so that the big thing is as perfect as possible. That's what Virgo's about. That's its sort of mode of operating. But something that a lot of people don't remember about Virgo is it wants to be of service, right? Virgo wants to be of service. It wants to make the world a better place, whether that world is family, community, workplace. It doesn't matter. It wants, however it's defining its experience right now, it wants that world to be better, and it's going to take care of the details in order to make it as perfect as possible. I'm not going to go into politics here. I promise I'm not. However, if you want a political analysis, astrologically speaking, I would be glad to do one. Just please put in the comments below and I'll record, hopefully with less background noise, an astrological reading on what's going on right now. But for now, think about some politicians, right? They are absolutely trying to shine in the spotlight. Remember that new moon we were just talking about? They're absolutely trying to shine in the spotlight. They are absolutely trying to start a new phase of their lives, right? This is the entry point. But they also, if they're noble and good politicians, they also want to serve their citizens, right? They want to serve Americans and make the country as strong and prosperous and happy, whatever that is, as it can be, right? So it's an interesting time to consider what this Mercury retrograde in Virgo looks like. Look at your favorite politician, whoever that is, and there's kind of a model of it. Now we've got the new moon scooching over into Virgo by August 5th. And what it's doing is it's bringing those intentions we said about being seen, standing in the spotlight, it's bringing those over into that Virgo area of our chart. Mercury retrograde is barreling towards it, right? So what details do we now need to consider about that lunar intention that we set? We're going to start fine-tuning it almost as quickly as we set the intention, and that's fine, right? It's good to just immediately jump into it and start refining, revising. But while we're doing this, I want you to also consider that service piece of Virgo, right? Did we have these goals about wanting to shine that were really only focused on me, right? I want to shine because I want to shine. That's fine. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. Leo supports that, right? No problem at all. But can we make that goal bigger? Can we rethink that intention in such a way that it becomes bigger? That it's about more than me standing in the spotlight, me being seen, me being truly understood. Can we add something to that makes it about us, right? It doesn't mean I don't want to stand in the spotlight, right? I'm a writer. I want my writing to stand out. I'm an astrologer. I want you to listen to me. You can listen to other people too, but I want to stand out in the crowd, right? But I do hope that both my writing and my astrology are more than just me bringing attention to me. I hope that people get value from what I'm doing. Otherwise, I would go, do something easier. And it doesn't mean that this intention that you've set doesn't already have that built in. But remember, the Mercury retrograde is going to ask us to go back and rethink it a little bit. How do you add to that service element? And then how do you add to that service area? Maybe by paying attention to some of the details, Virgo, right? How do I maybe just need to tweak a little thing here and a little thing there? Think of this as like dress rehearsal for dancers, since I've been using that metaphor. They go in, and the choreographer or director or whoever does dance things, they're looking on and they're looking at every little detail of the plan, of the artwork, of the dance, right? How do we tweak it just a little here? Lift your head, raise your leg, I don't know, do those dancers things just a little more here, a little more there, and the whole dance is going to be so much more beautiful. And why? So that the audience will enjoy it so much more. The dancers are in the spotlight. The audience is having this amazing experience. And it really does all come together because all of those details were attended to. Your artwork may be your relationship. It may be your relationship with your children. It may be a literal artwork, or your artwork may be a project at work. Your artwork may be yourself, your looks, your sense of yourself. So think of this based on the house placement for you, and that's the way I think it's going to resonate best. So as I said, I want to give you some dates moving forward because this is not the end of the Mercury retrograde. The moon will continue moving forward. Mercury is going to go back into Leo on August 15th. So this again, now he's retracing the path that he already went over, and that moon carrying our intentions has already crossed through. So he's asking us to really look at those intentions and consider what revisions need to be made. We may be moving a little out of such a picky Virgo kind of time now because he's in Leo. Another date that I'm really excited to share with you is August 18th. This is when Mercury conjuncts the sun. We're in Leo at this point. This is known as the cazimi, or when the planet is in the heart of the sun. We've just come through the Venus cazimi, and a lot of you will remember the frustration. It's a really good event. This is a very powerful cosmic event, but the planet while going through an important phase, is not visible to us. So if you remember the Venus Cazimi that just passed, there was a while when it was like, when are all these love goals or whatever they were manifesting? And it took a while for her to get through that phase and become visible before we saw anything Venus happening in our lives. This is the same thing that's going to happen with Mercury. He's going to go into the heart of the sun where two things happen. What's old and outworn gets burnt away, and he gets recharged. It's like the sun is this energetic battery that fills him up so that when Mercury goes forward and gets through this whole retrograde phase, we're really supercharged and ready to go. On August 29th, and by the way, I will be talking more about that Cazimi in its own episode later on, but I wanted to give you the date so that you're kind of prepared for the process. The other thing about this Cazimi that's really important is he's aligning with the sun much in the same way that the moon aligned with the sun when we were setting those intentions. So to me, this is just so big, right? It's like what's burning away is what was faulty or not quite right in that intention setting. And what's getting recharged is that new, improved version of those intentions now that we've paid attention to all the details and all of that kind of stuff, right? Super exciting. Another date that I want you to keep in mind, just so you get the full sense of what we'll be going through, on August 29th, Mercury is going to turn direct. He's now going to retrace his steps for the final time through Leo. He's going to cover that area where we set our intentions, and now he's going to move them forward. He's done all of his retrograde stuff, and now he's going to take them forward and continue on. Thank goodness, right? I like to put not a positive spin, that's kind of wrong, but I like to see the positive side of what we're going to get from these Mercury retrograde times, and this one really is special. But after going through all of it, I, like everybody else, am super excited to get on with things, right? Get on with the show. He'll enter Virgo again on September 9th, and he's going to remain in Virgo through September 26th. So again, I'm going to cover all of this in a whole lot more detail when we get closer to the events, but just know that that is going to be the time when we're now bringing those intentions really forward in the sign of Virgo. I think this is a really big new moon, and I think this is a really important Mercury retrograde. So I've already been experiencing all the frustrations of Mercury retrograde. I can't make this audio sound great because it's just not going to happen. And I promise I will be working on solving these problems, but it cannot happen this time, and I'm just going to blame Mercury. As usual, I am really grateful for you sticking through these early episodes with me. I'm learning. I'm trying to work out the issues that come up. I'll be a lot happier when Mercury supports me in doing that. Please leave comments below. Let me know what you'd like to hear. Do you want to hear about the politics, the astrology of the politics? If so, let me know. Do you want to hear about medical astrology, or do you want little tutorials, astrological tutorials? I would like to provide what it is you're looking for and are most interested in. See, that's that Virgo need to be of service. You're already feeling the energy, right? Please share this podcast. It will really help me get some footing out there in the digital world. I am wishing you a good start to your Mercury retrograde season, and I am certainly with you in spirit as you're setting those intentions. Be bold. This is the new moon in Leo. Be bold. Love yourself. Don't be afraid of shining, right? Don't be afraid of shining. So now go out and seize the energies of the stars. This is my wish for you always. Thank you. Bye.